Yar mateys, my name be Captain Dirk, and this be the Netflix Knowhow, the hardiest vessel for finding treasure in these murky seven seas. Today we be looting the plunder of Jerry Bruckheimer's booty pile with Pirates of the Caribbean, the Curse of the Black. Squawk, not that one! Oh, ye be right, Bernie. What I mean to be saying is Pirates of the Caribbean, the end of the world. Squawk, not that one either! Yar, Bernie, what do ye mean? What be this trickery? Well then, it must have been Pirates of the Caribbean, the tale of a stranger and a dead man fighting over a chest of tide. That's not a thing, squawk, squawk! Quiet, you filthy pile of feathers, or I be feasting on fowl tonight. Well, what in Davy Jones' locker did I be witnessing last night? I'm gonna be needing some more rum for this one.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales is the 5th film in the Pirates franchise, and I know what you're all thinking, wait. They made a 4th one of these movies? Dead Men Tell No Tales continues the adventures of Captain Jack Sparrow, although by this point it's starting to feel like less of an adventure and more like some kind of drunken fever dream. How to describe the plot? So the movie kicks off with a young boy running away from his house in the middle of the night and rowing out into the middle of the ocean, and then he straps a rock to his feet and then he jumps overboard and sinks to the bottom. Okay, that seems like a smart plan. Of course, the boy doesn't die. He's actually rescued by the Flying Dutchman as it rises out of the ocean, and we come to find out that this boy is actually Orlando Bloom's son from the 3rd movie. So we get our obligatory Legolas cameo. Orlando Bloom and his son have this nice little heart-to-heart about the son breaking the curse that's currently holding Orlando Bloom tied to the ship, and then the ship sinks again. Fast forward about 10 years and Orlando Bloom Jr. is all grown up now, and he's still trying to break the curse that is keeping his father prisoner by being generally stupid and getting himself in trouble all the time. Okay, so that's setup number 1. Setup number 2 involves some Royal Navy people chasing a bunch of pirates into this sort of haunted cave thing called the Devil's Creaky Old Kneecap or something like that. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, they end up getting ambushed by a bunch of like zombie ghost spirit sailors led by Javier Bardem as Captain Salazar. The reason why these ghosts exist? Because that Jack Sparrow guy. There's a backstory about how a young Jack Sparrow lured Salazar and his crew into this cave, which should have killed all of them, but instead they just turned into angry ghost monsters made out of burnt paper. Why does this happen?
No reason.
Okay, so there's that. Now we finally get to talk about Jack Sparrow. He's drunk and useless, and it's very apparent that Johnny Depp was over this role about 10 years ago. Basically, he ends up being completely useless, as usual. His entire crew ends up leaving him, and this time, he ends up getting really depressed about it. So he trades in his magical compass thingy from the other movies so that he can drink a bottle of rum. Oh, and then because he no longer has the compass in his possession, that somehow frees Salazar from the cave, which means
He's coming for you, Jack Sparrow!
But why though?
No reason.
There's also a female character who's like really smart and sciencey, but everyone thinks she's a witch because she's really smart and sciencey. Yay, sexism! Look, I get that given the time period these movies are set in, sexism is going to be pretty rampant. More rampant than it is today, although that is a topic that is certainly up for debate. The problem isn't that they make a sexist joke, it's that this is the only joke they make about her character, and it happens every single time she interacts with a male character. It gets old real fast. Anyway, she's trying to find this island that can't be seen, but she can find it because she has a book that gives some sort of vague musings about where it could possibly be, maybe. It's kind of like Apple Maps, but more reliable. And then this is supposed to be the island where Poseidon's trident is located, so if they find the trident and break it, it will break all the... Okay, you know what? I am done talking about this crap. The movie's a fucking mess. The fact that it's taken me this long to just explain the basic premise and setup of the movie is not a good sign. It is all over the damn place, and despite the fact that there are approximately 10,000 different plot lines sailing through these waters, there is not a single shred of an original thought or idea floating around in it. Zombie sailors wreaking havoc and trying to break a curse? Well, that sure sounds familiar. Jack Sparrow running away from a bad guy that he screwed over in the past and now wants to get revenge? I feel like I've seen that somewhere before. A magical ship with crazy powers that basically wrecks everything in its path? I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu here. Obligatory badass female character who is technically useful but is really only there for the pirate characters to salivate over? Gee, haven't heard that one before. The whole movie is basically just a rehash of every other Pirates movie, but without any of the excitement or fun or the inspired sense of adventure that I at least got out of the first 3 movies. Yes, the 4th movie is terrible, but at least they tried to do something different with it. This just feels like a greatest hits album for a band that hasn't been relevant in decades, and it was really just released as a desperate cash grab by the studio. They might as well have just called the damn thing Pirates of the Caribbean. Hey, you remember those Pirates movies we made about 15 years ago that everyone really liked? Haha, yeah, cause we sure do. Good times, good times. The story is an absolute train wreck. I want to make it abundantly clear, I just barely touched the surface with everything I already mentioned before, and it gets so much worse. The whole thing is completely bogged down by unnecessary backstories and side characters and subplots, none of which make any sense, and they come out of nowhere. The basic plot is that Jack Sparrow and Will Turner Jr. have to team up and find Poseidon's trident so they can end all of the curses before Salazar manages to get to them. Sounds simple enough, right? We need to give everybody daddy issues, and Jack Sparrow needs to suffer from spiraling depression, and Barbossa needs to be a drag queen, and guys, just make a fun Pirates movie. Speaking of Barbossa, what did they do to this poor character? Look, I know lots of people love Jack Sparrow, and I can totally understand the appeal of him, but for me personally, Geoffrey Rush as Captain Barbossa is what made these movies. Jack is fun and quirky and oftentimes hilarious, but Barbossa is a pirate. The most piratey of pirates. What I mean by that is, if I were to Google the question, what is a pirate? This is what I would expect to see. Geoffrey Rush was brilliant in the first movie and brilliant in the third movie, and then for whatever reason they decided he needed to sparkle in the 4th movie, and now look where we are. You know, if you watch the Pirates movies closely, they're less about the drunken escapades of Captain Jack Sparrow and more about the slow decline and tragic downfall of the once feared and revered Captain Barbossa. You know what? Fine. So he's a little more flamboyant and a lot less pirate now. How's his story? They Shyamalan'd him. There's a twist at the end about Barbossa's relationship with another one of the main characters, and it just comes out of nowhere and has literally nothing to do with anything. Why?
No f***ing reason.
God damn it, why did this movie even exist? Javier Bardem is fine. They don't really give him a whole lot to do, but he's fine. You know, they did the same thing in the 4th movie where they got this great character actor in Ian McShane to play Blackbeard, and then they did jack all with him. I remember when I used to like pirates. This movie is the cinematic equivalent of huffing fumes straight out of the exhaust pipe. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and it's so blatantly obvious that everyone involved is just so over this franchise that they would rather drink themselves into oblivion than deal with this festering pile of leftovers. I mean, I guess I'll give them credit for attempting to wrap up the few remaining loose plot threads and character arcs left over from the previous movies, but I'm only giving them credit because that probably means we aren't getting any more of these. Please, no more Pirates movies, no more Jack Sparrow. We've had enough. The joke is way too obvious here, but Dead Men Tell No Tales should have really taken its own advice. Shut the f*** up and stay dead. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. So I hope you enjoyed today's review. I know it was very loud and angry, and there was a lot of yelling. When I sat down to write the review for this, I realized that the movie had actually pissed me off a lot more than I had initially anticipated. So I hope you enjoyed my lunatic ravings throughout this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and share it with all your friends. I would really appreciate that. You can also head over to Twitter and over to Facebook and follow me on there. And as always, if you want to know your flicks, you know where to click. Happy hunting, guys. I'll see you next time.